The stream is live.
That's
So
right.
are we.
And we're talking about potato chips.
Woohoo! Like, potato chips are one of the foods that I don't have around the house because I'll just eat them.
Hmm.
And I'll put on weight. Potato chip, I like them. I'll eat them at like a party.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But if I buy a bag of potato chips, it's going to be gone in 2 days, and I'll have eaten more than I wanted to. Now,
Mhm.
some people say 2 days, you got a lot of willpower because they'll eat a bag of potato chips in one sitting.
Mm. We had two viewers when the stream started, and now we have one, and we have two again.
Woo!
Apparently, they came here expecting comics, and we're talking about potato chips.
I tell you, potato chips are way more popular than comics. If we were to start a potato chip
Yeah.
channel, we have way more viewers than a comic book channel.
Oh yeah. The new mukbang. We eat potato chips. Yeah. If I eat potato chips, it means I didn't have time to do a proper side dish, like actual potatoes. Tit Goblin is currently eating chips.
Oh, there we go. I don't know. He's from Canada. What do they call chips in Canada? He could be eating like pig's feet, and then they call them chips. I don't know.
That's
Those
something
Canadians are weird. They got weird
yeah,
names for stuff.
but that's something that they'll never sell packaged as a snack. Pig's feet. Although I do like pig's feet. Like we had a we had a pork and bean casserole the other day, and I always like to munch on the pig's feet.
Ah,
All that jelly. Yeah, we call it chips.
chips.
They're
Okay, just checking.
yeah, they're not pigs. No, even in Canada, they're not pig's feet.
What are their pork rinds? That's the what they sell here as a snack. It's fried pork skin.
Yeah, we have something like that, but it comes directly from we cut it from the fat of the pig,
Mm-hmm.
and we put it in the frying oil, and it doesn't come packaged. 62 Lefty Blues is here.
All Good evening, 62.
Mm-hmm. Chicharrones. Hello, Meyer. Ketchup chips and all dressed chips are the Canadian thing. Do you have poutine? Do you have poutine chips? Poutine in a bag.
Hello there.
Yes, they are crisps
in Great Britain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Lay's brand there is called Walkers. There was a time when I had Rupert Murdoch's Sky One on satellite, and I saw all of the British advertising, and there was a lot of advertising for Tetley tea.
Tetley tea.
All the rest are spectacular. So apparently, Chuck Norris died.
Who died? Oh, Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
My sister just told me. My sister's very upset about Chuck Norris dying. He was one of her favorites.
Gravy things in a bag. That's kind
of there was a Chuck Norris comic in the 80s, right? That was a tie-in with his Saturday morning TV show.
Yeah, and I put the image on the.
Oh, that was from the thumbnail. That was okay. I was wondering what that was.
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot about it till just this moment.
Tetley tea is the go-to here too. Tetley is owned by the Indian Tata Group.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Norris didn't die. He is training with Bruce Lee. I saw the what was the name of the movie? See, I saw it 2 days ago, and I've already forgotten the movie. I just know it was Bruce Lee fighting Chuck Norris.
Enter the Dragon? No, he wasn't in that one.
No.
The other one, I can't remember. Yeah, I know which one you mean. They were in the stadium hallway, like.
Yeah. Chips are French fries. Yeah, they call fries chips.
They don't want to give the French credit for anything.
This is my sister.
Hello there.
She'll be out of here in a minute. She doesn't understand comics. She's here because we're not talking about comics yet. We're talking about chips.
she'll step in
Return of
for
the
a few
Dragon.
minutes.
Yeah, that's it. Return of the Dragon.
There we go. Return of the Dragon.
Yeah, the movie itself is kind of sucky. People just like to watch it for the Bruce Lee Chuck Norris fight.
Right.
And I wonder, was Chuck Norris already? I wouldn't say he was famous, but he was already known. No.
Yeah, he was he was a karate champion of some kind at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He had already made his bones in the world of combat sport or whatever they call it. Mm-hmm.
I just bought a few issues of that Chuck comic.
Ah,
what's the Chuck comic?
Chuck Norris.
Oh, okay.
What was the name of this cartoon? Was it just?
It's the same as the comic. Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos.
Ah,
I've never seen an episode. I've seen the Saturday morning cartoon of Karate Kid, but not of Chuck Norris.
I don't think it lasted more than a season.
Hello, Tim, comic collector.
Hello there. What's up?
Roasted Dutch. No. Yeah, Karate Commandos. Yeah, I've never seen it. The comic, the first 3 issues have art by Steve Ditko, and it's really, really weird because
How many issues did it last?
4.
4. Okay.
Most of those comics they only last for 3 or 4 issues. Like the A-Team at 3, Starriors at 4, Inhumanoids at 4, Visionaries at 6, Defenders of the Earth had 4, and that was a Marvel Productions cartoon. But then the Transformers goes.
Oh, that just reminded me. Did you see Dan Slott this week having some controversy for saying something out loud that we all know?
I didn't.
Oh, he was being interviewed for I think he is Spectacular Spider-Man is the new Spider-Man comic that's coming out that he's writing. He was trying to get people to buy it. And he's like, I need, and he's like, pre-order issue 2, pre-order issue. If you like my stuff, if you pick up it, pre-order it because everything's like on a 5-issue counter these days. If it's not selling by issue 5, it's going to get canceled. Everybody's like, oh my goodness, everything's only got 5. It's like, we knew that. All you got to do is watch.
Yeah.
Comic series aren't going. Matter of fact, what did I saw some DC comic that was at issue like 50 something. And I was like, how did that get to issue 50? One like I'd never paid attention to. I can't even remember what it is now. I was like at issue 50 something. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, back then, 4 issues was when you knew how much issue number 1 had actually sold.
Right.
But it's easy to. You get the rights to a tie comic. It's actually easy to do a 4-issue run as a test run. Right. If it sells really well, it keeps going because the numbers for those. The reason why those were all penciled by Jim Mooney was because Jim Mooney was cheap, because you have to pay the rights to the rights holder.
The Transformers was originally a 4-issue miniseries.
Yeah, but it sold really well.
Then they just kept going. They were like, all right.
Yeah, Jared. Well, they didn't outlast the toy line specifically. They outlasted the original toy releases because it gets to a point where you can't keep adding new characters because then the story doesn't make sense, and you just keep going with the ones that you like.
Adjust that microphone a little bit again. You just started crackling.
I started crackling. Why am I crackling?
I don't know why you were crackling.
Yeah, there's mic. It's got echo cancellation on, so.
I think after you moved it stopped crackling. Maybe there's a loose wire in it.
Probably this thing has traveled a lot, and it's about 3 years old, so it's going to start breaking down because I use it every week. Yeah, my sister does dark comics, but she is paying attention. But yeah, the thing is, if you do a type comic based on an old property, you can now actually do the story that you always wanted because they're not trying to sell the toy.
Yeah, all those toy comics are still here. I mean, they're with
Mhm.
different publishers. Kirkman has them all. Yeah, they're still here.
Jason Aaron's actually and with the old cartoon, and they're always parallel with the retro cartoons like Space Ghost and Thundar, and the Jason Aaron is doing a great job with Thundar, and I've always
Mhm.
thought that Jason Aaron was either really good or really bad, and it's
The only thing I've read of his was that Southern Comfort. What was the name of it? That indie book. That was pretty good. Southern
I
something.
I don't remember that one. Uh,
Probably ended like 5 years ago now.
yeah, so
Lasted a good 20 issues.
I tried reading The Goddamned, but that thing was uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think I read a couple issues of that. That was it. That was one with the giant sword.
No, it's the one that's set that's set in
Oh,
the
Noah's
Bible.
Ark time, right?
Noah's Ark, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And but the I had already read his Punisher Max, which was meh.
Mhm.
But his Scalped was very, very good. And
I didn't like I read the first trade of Scalped, and it didn't grab me at all. I don't know why,
yeah,
I
well,
can't
grab,
I
yeah.
I can't even remember.
Mhm. It worked pretty very well for me. I think I like the characters, and most of them are assholes, which is what
Mhm.
Jason Aaron usually turns his characters into.
Yeah.
Um, but it worked well for the for the main plot and for the place where the story was being held. Eric says it's getting something like 3 issues of GI Joe a month. Real American. Wow. In
Yeah.
the end,
I know
I
those
didn't
are
know.
some of the best-selling comics out there right now.
Yeah, I didn't
Like,
know there were so many GI Joe series coming out at the same time.
yeah, what was it called? The Energon universe?
Yeah.
The Energon universe and, DC's Absolute are keeping comic shops in business right now.
Mhm.
They're doing real well.
Mhm. Yeah, and Dork. That's
And Dork,
how
right?
long.
The speculation stuff that's going on small press stuff.
I mean, I hope people are actually reading the comic and liking it
Yeah, that'd be
because
nice.
that'll keep the comic going. And if
Yeah.
people have a reason, maybe if that turns out to be the new Walking Dead, it'll be a good reason for people to come back every month
Yeah.
to read the comic. I
Yeah.
hope they're not, it's because if it's just speculators and issue number 4 doesn't sells jack shit, uh, then the comic will die, and all the people who paid $200 for the first printing of number 1 are
Yeah.
going to feel very silly in
I
6 months.
I think if you're paying $200 for issue 1, it's pure FOMO,
Hmm.
fear of missing out. That doesn't mean that you won't like it, though. So I think the speculators are selling it for $200.
Hmm.
I think the readers are buying the FOMO readers are buying it for $200. So hopefully they're the ones who like it. Hopefully you paid $200 for first printing because you wanted the first printing and you really like it. I
Hmm.
hope that's what that's what happens to enough. Because I also think that the speculation at least brings attention to a small book that might not get any attention. So I don't
Yeah.
necessarily think speculation's a bad thing, especially when it hits these small books.
Hmm. Yeah, because this is the funny part. Indie books are more likely to be reprinted if they're top sellers, or if
Mhm,
they run, or if they run out of the print run.
mhm. Who was I was just watching, uh, Mercenauts show. He has a live show on Sunday nights. I usually catch it on the rerun. but he and a few of his friends do, I think, Hot Book Alert is name. And it's mostly Golden Age stuff they look at, what's sold and go, and they're real sort of, though a couple of them are readers, they're all collectors and they buy and sell comics too, at least a little bit. And I remember Mercenault was saying he wishes they'd stop all these printings of stuff like, Absolute Batman #1. He's like, oh, another printing of that? Oh my goodness! Just let it be hard to get. Some of the other guys were going, no, DC's going to make money off it. I was like, yeah, if they can sell it, they don't care about the secondary market. They care about their primary market. I think Absolute Batman #1 was up to a 10th printing.
No, if people are buying it,
yeah, people want to buy it, let them. I mean, I started some of the comics I started, like Department of Truth. What was the other one? I can't even remember now. I had to, my comic shop had 3rd, 4th printings in of some of the issue, and by that time, enough people had told me here on my channel that, oh, so you should check this one out. It's pretty good. That I could go and get, the first 3 or 4 issues of something, because there was, multiple printings of the first issue. So I'm happy when I can do that.
1 copy per customer. Yep.
Yeah.
Or 2 that Teenagers #1 and White Sky #1.
I did. Someone, as a matter of fact, they were speculating on
Captain Finity's here.
Show. Hello there. Let me show you. I pre-ordered Dead Teenagers #1, so this is it. It's by Oni Press. Who's doing it? Whoops! Don't drop it. Jude Ellison, S. Doyle, and Caitlin Yarsky. Jude Ellison, S. Doyle is the writer, and Caitlin Yarsky is the artist. Letterers Becca Carey. And it was pretty. I gotta say, I really enjoyed this. It was better than I thought it was gonna be from just the description. I guess you could call it a time loop comic. There aren't many time loop comics that I can think of. Where's there's a giant monster attacking prom. But the basic concept is that here are these teenagers who every night have to relive their prom. And every time at the end of the night, they die. And like at the beginning of this, they're already at the prom night 1997. They're already on scenario 7105. That's the giant lizard attacking them.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they've been there's 5 of them who know what's going on. I think there's about 5 of them. And so they're always every night, and like the same thing happens to some people every time, but in the end they all die. But in this first issue, in this particular scenario, somebody in a robe shows up, like sort of like a specter of death or something, shows up, and something different happens. So now they're like, well, what's going on? So now something new has finally happened. So they're going to have to try and figure out what's going, because I mean, they don't know what's going on anyway. But it was really, I expected it to be cheesier. I expected it to be like a cheesy teenage kids dying in a horror movie, but it was pretty well thought out, I have to say. So I definitely will, get another issue of this, if not put it on my pull list. But it was a good comic. It was better than I thought it was going to be. But I wonder if Carl Bollers is editing this one. Let me see. I didn't even look. Editor is Allison Gronowitz. So Carl is not editing this one.
Fairtex says Mercenaut wants short print runs so he can cash in.
Yeah. I think he reads some of them, but I think there was another guy who reads more of them. But Mercenaut has even said he's not interested in a comic until other people are interested in it. That's his
Well, yeah.
psychology. Yeah, he knows
No,
it.
there you go. He admits
Right.
it. That Goblin takes an hour to look through 30 random issues in his collection. A time loop comic.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
There's not many time loop comics out there.
Yeah, that's a good definition.
Purgatory.
It's a purgatory. It's a comic set in purgatory.
Yeah.
Really,
Most time loops aren't purgatory though. They're just time loops.
yes, Sleepy Reader and
Sleepy
Higgy Pop
Reader,
do
yeah.
read their comics.
They do.
I was on.
Mhm.
I was what last weekend. I was watching Sleepy Reader being interviewed by Colin Blanchett
Well, that's right.
uh,
Yeah.
for the top 100 superheroes.
I was commenting. Colin actually sent me an invitation to do that, and I tried. I could only get about 40 superhero stories. Then I
Because you
kind of
don't
put
remember.
it down and never picked it up. I was like, I just
Stopped watching.
couldn't. I couldn't come up with 100 best 100 superhero stories. I mean, I could come up with 100 superhero stories, but I couldn't come up with 100 who deserved to be on a best of list.
Mm-hmm. I probably could. But it's going to take me a couple of weeks to sort. And then there was the.
Well, you know what I
the
did? I looked through my database of all my comics.
Mhm.
So I just went right down my database, and picked out the ones I thought deserved to be on the best list. But like I said, I only got about 40 of them. So I was like, that's my entire data. That's my entire collection. I couldn't come up with 100. And I was also like, trying to think of, does the Frank Miller run count as one? Or do I if I were to pick out individual comics of the Frank Miller run? And then watching Sleepy interview Colin, he was like, "Oh, I ended up reading a whole lot of comics for this list." And I was like, "I'm supposed to read them?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
go back
yes.
and read them all too?"
Well, that depends. If you remember them, you don't have to read them. Yeah. But most people doing the list, they picked runs, full runs.
That's what I would think.
Because a lot of people said Claremont's X-Men, and Claremont was in the X-Men for 17 years.
Yeah.
So it's a long run. But I'm not sure if you should do Frank Miller's two Daredevil runs separately.
Yeah, I think
you probably should.
Separate. Those would be separate.
And then there was a discussion: what exactly is a superhero story or a superhero comic?
Yeah, and then there's the number one on their list, of course, was Watchmen, which didn't even make my list. So it's like, that's how far off I am from the mainstream. Watchmen isn't even on my list of top 100 superhero comics.
Yeah, Colin should have asked me, because I would have picked Avengers Forever, and it would have been nominated. And it would have appeared on the final list.
Avengers Forever was probably on my list too. I would say.
I think Avengers Forever is in my top 3 Avengers stories.
Let's see.
It was the first book that I trade weighted.
Oh, okay. Avengers Forever, I read as it was coming out because I was at Marvel at the time and getting them from Marvel. And it was probably the only Marvel book I read that whole year. So it had to be really good to get me to read it. What year did they come out? 97, 99, something like that?
99, yeah.
To get me to read like a mainstream Marvel book at that time, really, it had to be really good. So,
I think it was, especially if you consider that it's a Grunwaldian comic. It's a comic made to fix continuity mistakes.
Right.
But it works.
Yeah, it's really well done.
One thing that Kurt Busiek was always good at was at mining the past.
Yeah.
And if you know how to mine the past, you don't have to come up with new stories, and readers will respond anyway.
Yep.
I mean, he came up with a brother for FBI agent Derek Freeman. we who showed up in like 3 issues of a Roger Stern's run.
Speaking of mining the past, I finally finished
Ooh.
reading The Secret History of Hillman comics. There is the Dave Stevens. Do you know much about Hillman comics? Because I knew nothing.
Yeah, I'm very. I know they exist, but I can't even remember which. Yeah, yes,
Airboy and the Heap.
Yeah, those are
And
probably the only comics that people remember.
right, some Western stuff. And I know Airboy from the 80s, from all
Black Cat
the
was Hillman. I thought Black Cat was Harvey.
might be another Black Cat Finney. Might be another Black Cat. I
Oh,
think there was
that.
multiple Black Cats.
Oh, right, that's a Western. Okay, yeah.
Right. And how come the guys behind the publishers behind comics in the 30s and 40s and here's some nice Bill Everett artwork right there.
Oh, yeah. Everett had very good composition on covers.
He was terrific.
And he doesn't get the credit.
No, he doesn't, because we know his stuff from the like 60s and 70s, which was still pretty good. The stuff he did with Marie Severin was nice, but his Golden Age stuff is even better.
Because in the 50s, it was either when Carl Burgos was too busy being the actual editor in place of Stan Lee, Bill Everett would do the covers.
Where is you got to see? There's a book that it's the name of the guy, the publisher behind Hillman Comics was Alex Hillman. And he was born in Chicago in 1900. His father was a Jewish immigrant from Russia. His mother was born in the States, but came from a similar background. Alexander Hillman attended the college at the University of Chicago and majored in law. And he was short. He was 5'4", but he made his presence long. But like, it's even like unspoken shady stuff. Like it says, he majored in law. He subsequently set up shop as an attorney. But then here's a book I've never heard of that I don't have to track down. So will you. Most of what is known of Hillman's early professional career is available from David Saunders' Field Guide to Wild American Pulp Artists website. I was like, who knew there was such a thing?
I'm not surprised there is. I didn't know it, but I'm not surprised it exists.
Yeah, but here's the crazy. It's like he set up a shingle but like right out of college, he shortly after graduating from college, his role as an attorney, Hillman was hired to assist publishing powerhouses William Randolph Hearst and Moe Annenberg. All right. His immediate task was in planning construction of an 18-story building in Chicago, in the ground floor, which would be a huge movie theater. Who gets out of college as a lawyer and gets put in charge of building an 18-story building? Almost everyone I know of, and I know a few people who went to law school, and right out of college, they got jobs as entry-level lawyers somewhere. How did he get put in charge of the construction of an 18-story building? Does that sound like something you put like a 22-year-old in charge of? That's the first weird thing. I'm just like, what the shadiness is going on here? Who does he know and how did he get in charge? Hillman's association with Hearst and Annenberg proved to be enduring. At the tender age of 25, Hillman was sent by Hearst and Annenberg to China, where the two men owned a Shanghai newspaper. Hold on, I skipped a page, I think. And a newly launched radio station. Yeah. Later accounts, likely supplied by Hillman himself, I like that, describes his role in Shanghai as the American vice consul. Though contemporaneous reports describe his efforts as publicity work. So it's like he's even padding his resume later on in life. As the story goes, Hillman was instrumental in arranging the first ever radio broadcast aired in China, though one suspects some embellishments of his accomplishments may have accrued over the years. How to tell us the guy is shady without telling us the guy is shady? So then he went. He followed Annenberg, Hearst's buddy, to New York, uh, where some of his boss's business associates ran the powerful Eastern Distributing Company. One of the company's subsidiaries published inexpensive, if classic, erotic novels, one of which boasted a foreword by Hillman. So, so then he started a publishing company to publish his own erotic novels. And then, I don't know how he got it in his head, he decided he wanted to publish. Oh, here's the next thing. For Hillman, a similar double life was emerging. On the more respectable side, in addition to his legal work, Hillman taught as an adjunct at Washington Square College, a progressive stronghold located on the edge of Greenwich Village. It was here he met and romanced his soon-to-be wife, Rita, a student there and an ardent lover of art. So he married a student. He was a college professor who married a student. At least he was only like 26. He wasn't that much older then, I don't think. Does it tell us how much older he was? The two were married in 1932. I mean, he was 10 years older than her. So then here's the he wants to start his own publishing company. He goes to during this period, Hillman recalled being excited over arranging a meeting during the Great Depression with Otto Kahn, a well-known investment banker and philanthropist. When Kahn declined to first finance his plan to start publishing slick magazines, Hillman quickly adjusted his pitch. A bank official I went to told me that all I'd really need is a note signed by a responsible person. Kahn replied, if you could bring me a note signed by someone like me, I'd give you the money myself. Okay. Then it says, Hillman's dream of putting out a line of slick papered magazines would have to wait until 1938 when he launched Hillman Periodicals. Hillman Periodicals was both published. So it's like, how'd he get the money? This guy wasn't giving it to him. Then 2 years later, he's got the money. Where did the money come from? Did he bring a guy like him to come? It was just like, it just like skipped over the part where he got the money. Probably nobody knows how he got the money.
Yeah.
But I think he had like a couple of false starts. At first, he was just buying material from studios, and he put out Miracle Comics, and that kind of died. But then he was back working for, who was he working for? But because Bill Everett, Bill Everett, the Victory Comics must have come from out of Bill Everett's studio or wherever he was working for. Here it is. It wasn't when where was he working for? Quality Paper. He ended up working for another publisher too, where he cherry-picked Ed Cronin from. Ed Cronin, he decided, enough of this buying stuff from cartoonist studios. He hired Ed Cronin as his editor, and he was the guy who knew what he was doing. He had good taste and knew how to get things done. So that's when that's when his publishing ventures finally took off, with Ed Cronin editing stuff. But there were still like 2 or 3 matter of fact, he shut it all down. He became the guy Hillman became like, he was like a conservative. He ended up, I don't know if, what's the guy's name? I don't know how familiar you are with oh God, all of a sudden his name just flew out of my head. American politics in the 60s. But there was, where'd it go? There we go. Barry Goldwater
Oh.
was a super conservative, and he's like the father of the modern conservative movement. They call him now, but he was a far right weirdo in the 60s and couldn't get his book published, and Hillman published it. That's how tied he was. And he became tied in with politics. Matter of fact, one time he was investigated by the FBI for the comics he published and for the erotic novels. But he had buddies at the FBI who told him about this. So he stopped publishing for a little while until his buddies gave him the all clear and said, you're not under investigation anymore. And then I think he shut it down another time during the McCarthy hearings when one of his buddies went, you don't want anything to do with this. So he stopped publishing comics for another year or so during the hearings before. So he always had.
I'll have to check Jamie Coville's website to see if there was a hearing with Hillman. Meyer says he's rereading his entire collection in chronological order, starting with Wizard McKay and then moving on to Golden Age omnibuses. Dang. Anais Nin. I don't know what that. Anais Nin. What we're talking about? I can't remember. I don't remember that. Writing erotic isn't respectable.
Not in the 1930s. Maybe it's more respectable now.
Maybe but sometimes.
Mostly Airboy is what they're known for. But it was interesting. Hillman. It's like reading about some of these shady guys who published comics in the 40s is more interesting than the comics.
Yeah. Yeah, if Hey Kids comics ever gets adapted into a TV series, they should do a season that's all about the publishers being mobsters.
And here's one they said was a disappointment. Great covers, but a disappointment. Monster Crime. Oh, let's see if I can get this back to glare. Whoops, wrong way. Monster Crime. Great covers, but inside there was hardly any monsters. It was like a regular crime book. They're like, it's really disappointing because that would be a cool crime book. Monster Crime, but an interesting. It's funny. She was a famous French eroticist. My mother had her books.
Okay, cool. No, I didn't know the name. I'll check later.
Yeah, I don't know that one either.
If I show her heart here it's going to get flagged,
But the guys behind the scenes were like more interesting than the comics. Steamy.
Yeah, sure. I mean the Charlton guys in particular. Yeah. I mean, the origin story for your company is, we met in jail and decided to publish comics together. Yeah, they were in jail for the same thing. They were publishing magazines with musical lyrics and not paying without permission and without paying any royalties.
Yeah, and this guy knew, William Randolph Hearst and other rich people who are just as shady as the criminals.
Sure, but it's one thing if you're shady coming from Massachusetts, and if you're shady coming from Long Island. And by Long Island, I mean Brooklyn and Queens.
But it was a good read. Mm-hmm. There was also a nice little piece in it on I don't think they've ever been reprinted. The stuff from Spirit magazine that's not the Spirit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't, because they did an overview of all the various logos of Lady Luck, which was one of the stories in the Spirit for years. And these logos and the art was by Klaus Nordling. So really nice logos, and the comic itself was supposed to be pretty good too, but I don't think it's ever. I don't think all that stuff in there has ever been reprinted.
No, it doesn't look like it. So I'm looking at the GCD and nothing. So there's the Lady Luck series from Quality.
I think those may have been reprints of this. They mentioned something
right.
about that was reprinted one time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Quality Comics began reprinting her adventures in Smash Comics from 1942 to number 42 to 85. April 1943 to August 1950. I don't really count stuff that was reprinted in the 40s
No,
to be accessible
right.
to them. You know.
Right, but exactly, but there's no recent collections.
No.
There's an Italian publisher in 1980 put out two volume. Well, they're 68-page volumes, which do reprint the stories as they appeared in the Spirit. But it's an Italian publisher, so it's the. Oh, it's not an Italian publisher. No, it's Ken Pierce. Oh, right. Yeah. It's Ken Pierce. Ken Pierce was the guy that did the Exa collection and did reprinted Mike Hammer and he did a couple of issues of the Spirit. The Spirit, yeah, right. People don't usually remember Ken Pierce, yeah. So, but there are two issues published in 1980, which reprint the stories as they appeared in the Spirit. Yeah. Okay. 16 stories, yeah. And they both have they both seem to have the same cover, which is yeah. And there's one here that was done by Nick Cardy. This came out in 1941.
Yeah, that's.
But most of the stories are by, but most of the stories are by Klaus Nordling.
They mentioned when Nick Cardy did it.
Because here's the funny thing. Apparently, the Spirit, anything that was published in the original Spirit newspaper insert is in the public domain.
Oh, wow.
Because it was never renewed.
Will Eisner wrote and drew the lead Spirit story and laid out the basic lettering design. The actual lettering was executed by different craftsmen, the most accomplished of these being Abe Kangston in late 40s. Klaus Nordling's Lady Luck followed. Nordling wasn't the first to draw the characters. That was Chuck Mazugian, followed by Nick Cardy. But Nordling's version, which he wrote, drew, and lettered, is generally considered definitive. Okay. Yeah, I'd like to check that out sometime if somebody would print it. I'll have to find some digital copies of it. It's probably scanned and in there and up somewhere.
Yeah. Well, back in the days of the torrents, I think I could find it. Let's see if it's in Read Comics Online. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Both the 1949 series, which continues the numbering from Smash Comics, and those two reprints from 1980. They're available online in the pirate sites.
Mm-hmm. And here's. I got the two issues I was missing of Chaos Moon in the mail. But when I opened the package, they stank like cigarette smoke. Holy cow. So what you have to do with them, they put them in a plastic bag with dryer sheets. This is how you get cigarette smoke smell out of your comics. So there is Chaos Moon, issue number 2. And I got these. This is the one that's done by, what's his name? David Bowler. That we were talking about. So I got issues like second print of issue 2, which has a different cover, and 3 and 4 last week. And I got issues 1 and 2 this week. which now all are smelling pretty. But if you ever get comics that smell musty or smell like cigarette smoke, you put them in a bag with dryer sheets. Matter of fact, I'm going to put the dryer sheet inside the comic this time. Because the inside was smelling a little musty. But I got those two. And I've had these in with dryer sheet. Matter of fact, this is why I use dryer sheets. Just to have them in the house. Yeah, great covers on those. Yeah. Just to have dryer sheets in the house in case I get smelly comics. Now I can read that series.
Yeah, it's like a less refined Joe Linsner.
Yeah,
because I like Joe Linsner, but it's too perfect.
Right.
The because he painted it to look like it's 3-dimensional, and it's too much. And I think that that David Bowler does it just right to make sure that it looks like a comic. But the detail is the level of detail is amazing.
Yes. It was good. Like I said, I'd never seen those covers before. The Jared Smellomatic 3000 Omnisac. Smello Omnisac.
Yeah.
Got to get those comics nuts. Oh, I'm telling you, I was nearly knocked over by the smell of cigarette smoke. I opened up the package and went, oh, how do people live like this?
Well, the original owner probably smoked very heavy cigarettes.
Yeah. Very, very heavy. And speaking of, we mentioned hot books before. I actually bought White Sky #1 second printing just for the cover. Just because I liked the cover. And also, I liked it better the second time around. I enjoyed it the first time around. I liked it even better the second time around. But one thing I've kind of always wanted to do collector-wise, but never have, is like buy all the printings of some random thing. I don't know. I just kind of like, wouldn't it be cool to have all 10 printings of Absolute Batman #1? Then I'll be stuck with 10 copies of Absolute Batman. But anyway, for some reason, I just liked the cover of this one. So I went, I'll get this. And then this week I ordered the third printing, which has another cover, which is nice too. What's the artist's name? Mavinga? J.P. Mavinga. Mavinga. So I was like, you know what? I'll get like I said, I pre-ordered it, so I'm gonna get every printing of White Sky #1 they put out. I don't know if it'll be much more than 3, but if it is, I'm gonna get the other ones just for the heck of it.
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention. I didn't actually pay attention to what is coming out this week because there didn't seem to be anything that interested me. And there was so much X-Men. No patience.
So much what?
X-Men. Like 3 different X-Men titles came out this week, including a new Cyclops #1. Why bother with it? I don't get it. Well, remember in the 90s, a lot of people complained that there were too many X titles, and there were 8. Now there are.
And that was many. Hey, that's just like what I always say when Gen 13, issue 13 came out, and there were 13 different covers, and we thought that was the most extravagant thing we'd ever seen. That's nothing now. It's like
now they have 125 covers.
Yeah. Like 13, pshaw.
Who's going to buy all of them?
The guy who buys everything. And I read another issue of Eclipse Monthly.
Nice.
And I think I figured out why I kind of like Eclipse magazine better. Not that this is bad by any stretch of the imagination. We've got a Captain Quick and a Foozle story.
Yeah.
We've got the original Static by Steve Ditko. Which what's interesting too about Static by Steve Ditko is well, let me show you the rest first, then I'll talk to you. We got a Ragamuffin story, Gene Colan with what's his name, Mackenzie? No, McGregor.
Right, Don McGregor.
The final part of Sax Rohmer's Dope by Trina Robbins.
Uh-huh.
Anything? Oh, and a Masked Man story by B.C. Boyer. And what's different between the magazine and the comic book, besides the color right now, I think it goes to black and white, is that in this you get 5, 7-page stories every. In the magazine, they'd throw in a 2-page story, a 1-page story. You'd see some weird underground thing. So there was like more variety in the magazine. Like comic book anthologies are pretty locked down in terms of you get this story, you get 5 stories. You don't ever get any stuff thrown in there like an extra 2-page story, a 1-page story. That's what was in the magazine that's not in this. So I think that's kind of why I liked the magazine. There were surprises in it.
The guy who did the cover, B.C. Boyer, he doesn't. He was doing Masked Man. He doesn't have many comics credits.
No. Hilly Rose is the one that I never got in the 90s that he did that I want to finally get. And if you look at those Hilly Roses, the covers are sort of very Frazetta comic book era influenced, with some Dave Stevens too.
Yeah, I
It's
can
a different
see that
style.
But it turns into some Art Adams mixed with Walter Kelly.
Yeah, there's all sorts of weird stuff on those covers.
Yeah.
I definitely, but yeah, I think he went on to do other I think he may have worked in animation, was it? But it's tough to make a living in indie comics.
Yeah. Well, it says here that his father did art for Disneyland.
Right. He was a Disney artist. His father, I think it said.
Interesting.
And they just found him at a convention. He was at that they said that in the Eclipse magazine, that he was showing his stuff around at a convention, and who was the editor? Dean Mulaney, I guess, liked his stuff. Or Cat Ironwood, I can't remember which one it was, but Dean Mulaney wrote the editorial about it. And that's how he got his Masked Man gig. He had never even heard of the Spirit. He didn't know the Spirit at all, but that's what it most closely resembles.
Yeah, I suppose it's possible that it didn't know what the Spirit was, because
I barely knew what the Spirit was in the early 80s.
Yeah, we're talking in the early 80s. In order to have heard of the Spirit, you would have needed to be reading the Warren magazine.
Yeah. You were either old enough to read the Warren magazine, which I wasn't, or you know him. The only place I knew him from was the Smithsonian Book of Comics, which was in every library. If you were my age in the early 80s, high school from 80 to 84, I'm especially like in 1980, I only knew him. I learned more about the Spirit when a comic shop opened near me, and I started and I didn't even see the Warren magazines there, because I think they were the 70s, right? When Kitchen Sink started reprinting the Spirit monthly, that's when I started reading the Spirit. I think that was like 82 or 83.
Yeah, and when I met Dennis Kitchen, he mentioned that when he met Eisner was looking for him. Now, Eisner is one of the gods in the pantheon of comics, but back then in the 1970s, he might as well be forgotten because he hadn't been in the industry forever. And the reason why Kitchen would be impressed enough about meeting Eisner is because Kitchen himself is a comics historian, so he would know who Eisner was. But the people who were buying his comics at Kitchen Sink probably wouldn't know. And the way I remember the way that Kitchen described the meeting, and I suppose now now that we're talking about BC Boyer and taking into account his art style and even the type of things that Dean Mullaney published at Eclipse in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Eisner probably figured that coming back to the industry in the second half of the 70s, he would have to reintroduce himself to everyone,
Right.
which would be extra hard because he was a lot older than all of the people making comics.
Yeah.
And he would have to explain why it would be they would want to publish him. So he goes after Kitchen, and the fact that he goes after Kitchen is what makes it was he got lucky to go meet a young guy who was interested in, who was familiar in his work and was ecstatic to meet him. Because if he had gone after one of the Marvel editors or one of the DC or even Mike Friedrich, and Mike Friedrich had what was the
Star Reach.
Maybe Mike Friedrich would have said no. Will who?
Yeah.
But
Frank Miller reintroduced a lot of people to Will Eisner by swiping some of his sort of integrating type with the city designs in Daredevil. Mm-hmm. That's where Miller was getting that from. Mm-hmm. And you could read about that.
But Miller was probably familiar with that because he was buying the Warren and Kitchen Sink magazines.
Yeah. Probably. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I suppose Eisner got lucky that there were that Dennis Kitchen was around, just like Dean Mullaney was around to publish Masked Man and Mystery, because those were art styles that were not what people were looking for in the mainstream of adventure comics at the time.
Now, speaking of Mystery, I read issue 2 of Mystery.
You went to high
school and Peak Breakfast Club here. I sure did. And as you can see by the pentagrams, in this issue, Ms. Tree takes. I don't know what city Ms. Tree takes place in. I assume New York.
Do they mention it?
No, I don't think they do. But she also goes upstate in this one to investigate a murder that has something to do with satanic cult. And I'm really the subtlety in Terry Beattie's art in his Ms. Tree is a lot different than the stuff I was reading. He's I like that profile too. Being that I just read the very first Ms. Tree story in that Eclipse magazine, it's so different reading, a Ms. Tree story 10 years later. He's really got his storytelling down, and the subtleties of his drawing he's got down much more than I remember him having in the 80s. Because I never read these ones. I'd given up on Ms. Tree in the 90s. I don't know why. Probably because DC was publishing it. That was too. And here's something weird. It's a mature reader's book. But in the back, just like the first issue, we get a Midnight Story, who is, as you told me, DC's version of the Spirit. Mm-hmm. But it also has some nudity in it, which kind of surprised me.
Right, but that comic's not set in DC continuity, and it doesn't have the comics code seal.
It just kind of Graham Nolan doing the art.
But even then, even without a comics code seal, that type of nudity,
I found it a little surprising. I was like, huh?
Because even in Vertigo comics, they tried to, even in the pre-Vertigo comics, they tried to cover it up.
Then we get I didn't read it, a text piece by Mike Barron with illustrations by Shea Anton Penza, Pensa, who I don't remember. I don't know that name at all.
Penza worked on some issues of of Nexus, especially in the backup features.
Oh, okay.
But the first time I heard his name, he did a fill-in for the Punisher back when Mike Baron
Oh,
was writing, and
okay.
it's I remember that story because it's a very strange Punisher story.
Huh.
It kind of goes nowhere because the Punisher is in Las Vegas to go after some assassin because they want to because he's a hired killer out there to gun down someone who's turned a mob informant, and he's going to testify against his mob boss. But the Punisher doesn't know what the assassin looks like, and in the end, he kind of kills the guy we thought was the assassin, but he wasn't sure. Uh, so he goes home and is, I don't know if I did it. And it's kind of weird because he doesn't wear the costume throughout most of the comic. It's probably one of the first times that I've seen him with the Punisher shirt, but wearing regular pants. But the rest of the time he's in a polo shirt because he's in Vegas. So yeah, it doesn't feel like a typical Punisher story of the time. And it's not the Klaus Jensen art, and it's not the Eric Larson art. In fact, Eric Larson, I think, starts drawing the from the next issue. So it's very. I'm not going to say that it's inappropriate for the Punisher because it isn't. But seeing that type of art in a Marvel Universe comic kind of threw me for a loop.
Eric Larson drew the Punisher?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that at all.
It was
I have no memory of it.
Yeah, it was one of the storylines that featured the Shadow Masters in Japan.
Okay. But it was interesting reading, once again, because, like I said, I just read in Eclipse magazine the very first Ms. Tree story. So reading this one 10 years later, or whatever it is, what year was this? I don't know, about 10 years later. It's like I didn't. Ms. Tree in these issues is well known. Like in her first story, she's the PI known locally wherever that is. But in this story, everywhere she goes, she's kind of, the cops know who she is, and the people who hired her know who she is, and her reputation is she'll kill people. Because because everybody knows she killed the killer of her son. She hunted down whoever the mob boss was eventually and killed him, who's a famous mob boss too. So like the couple who came there to hire her were like, we tried to hire you 3 years ago, but you wouldn't take the case. And she's like, yeah, I feel bad about that now. And they're like, you want me to try and find your daughter? Da, da, da. They're like, no, this is what happened. Our daughter's dead. We want you to kill the guy. And she's like, I'll do it for free.
Okay.
And then later on, when she has to go upstate and meet with a local cop, happens to be an ex big city cop. Once again, I assume is New York, but they don't really say. And I thought her original stuff may have taken place in L.A. I don't know where. I don't know where her adventures are set.
Well, those.
But anyway, she went. The local cop turned out to be an ex big. What was that?
Yeah, those skyscrapers. They seem to indicate it's either great if it's not
New York, Chicago.
Yeah, New York, Chicago, maybe Detroit, maybe Seattle a bit.
Right.
But if she goes upstate, it has to be New York because you can't go upstate.
Upstate always
in Chicago or Detroit because you have the lakes.
Yeah.
You don't have much.
Like I said, she's warned that the local cop is an ex big city cop who doesn't like her. But then when she goes and meets him, he's nice to her. And she's like, and he never liked her because he's a by the book cop and she's a vigilante sometimes.
Right.
And she's like, why are you being so nice to me? You never liked me. He's like, you know what? Sometimes we might need a vigilante. So it's like that's her reputation, which, of course, she didn't have in the very first story. So it was interesting, the passage of time between when the stories were done.
Yeah, but it kind of makes sense. I mean, it gets to a point you where the characters are supposed to be known if inside the universe,
right?
Because if you have people who have an impossible set of skills in the in the story, they start leaving traces of their existence. They start affecting the society they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So they are supposed to get known. Right. Like,
want to see something I blame you for? If you remember these Bitty Pops, I originally got I had to look up when I originally got them. August 30th, 2024. These are the very first Bitty Pops I ever got. They're these teeny tiny Funko Pops. And when I got these, I remember you said to me, oh, I wonder if you can put together Cap's Kooky Quartet.
Oh.
So I tried, and I reported back I could not put together Cap's Kooky Quartet because I think there was a Hawkeye, even though he's in the wrong costume. There was a Scarlet Witch, but she was a Chase figure and no Quicksilver. Well, I happened to be looking this week around, and I found this set of mutants where we get Quicksilver. Let's flip them around. Little Quicksilver action. Little Captain America action. Little Scarlet Witch action. So then I said I should track down. I knew they had made Hawkeye, movie Hawkeye. They're a little quick, but I was trying to track him down. Little Scarlet Witch action. Whoops. I can pile these up a little higher. There we go. Whoa! I just knocked them over immediately.
I thought they
supposed to stack.
I thought they glued magnetically to the.
No, there's just notches they go in. And I didn't even have them in the notches, the cases. So then I went to look for Hawkeye, couldn't find Hawkeye. But then I found this Infinity Wars one, which has
Jesus.
Hawkeye in it. And this one I wasn't going to get it because this is like a $40 set. But I found it on eBay for $15 shipped. So here, where's Hawkeye? Oh, he's in the wrong costume. For the first time, here we have Cap's Kooky Quartet in Bitty Pops. All because Paolo mentioned it 20 months ago.
Okay. All right. So it's not the exact costumes, but
nope.
But it works.
It's as close as, so now I'm going to put them in their own case too. So I'm now going to have the Kooky Quartet case. We'll move Magneto over there.
Nice.
But I thought you'd find that amusing.
Yeah.
Backing it down.
Captain Infinity says 3 chats disappeared. Huh, that's odd.
I still see him.
Yeah, but I don't have anything since his comment that writing erotica isn't respectable. So I don't know.
Cap's Kooky Quartet.
Yeah. Nice.
Which I originally, they were one of the, I originally read those in like Marvel Triple Action. That was coming out when I was a kid. I had a bunch of Marvel triple actions that had Cap's Kooky Quartet in them. And you know what's weird? All of the, I haven't examined them super closely, but like the 4 I originally got seem to be exactly the same as the ones in the movie version, except for the color of Iron Man's eyes. He's got white eyes in one set and black eyes in the other. That seems to be the only difference. Oh, they're actually different boxes too, but
yeah, and they don't have the same mask.
the mask is even different. I didn't notice that. But like, I think Captain America's the same, Hulk's the same. And over here, we in the secret, the Infinity War set, we get Cap, War Machine, Thor, Hulk, Nick Fury, Loki, Vision, Ultron, Magneto, Black Widow. Pardon me, Magneto's from the other set. Black Widow, Iron Man, Black Panther. Magneto's in that set now because I had to make the Kooky Quartet set. They're staying together. They're not splitting them up. Just because that's such a great name.
Yeah, I read them in an Essential Avengers. I had to dump most of my essentials because they take up too much space, and I don't have space here. But I dumped the Avengers ones because there's epic collections of those. So if I need to get them back, it'll be easier. Yeah, I kept the Kill Raven one because I know there's an epic collection of Kill Raven, but it's likely to go out of print and not get reprinted. So I'm keeping it like this, and I didn't keep the Essential Marvel Horror Volume 1 because the Son of Satan wasn't that good, but the Volume 2 I liked because it's got a bunch of obscure characters like Modred the Mystic and the Living Mummy. So I kept that one. But I didn't keep the Avengers, and yeah.
I was just saying I liked the Son of Satan when I was a kid, but I knew it was mediocre.
Yeah, yeah. But the Essential Avengers, at the time, 20 years ago, I wanted to read the original. I was finally going to read the original Avengers stories, and I liked them. Because the first ones are
draw some of that Son of Satan.
Jimuni, I think so.
I think so. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember copying one of the panels of Son of Satan, one of the double page spreads in Son of Satan with the satanic horses and chariot and Son of Satan.
Yeah.
I did that when I was a kid. I copied that. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the exact moment when the Avengers became the Avengers in that Essential Avengers Volume 1. Because it takes until issues 23 and 24, which is when they finally have an epic battle with Kang. Because it's the one where Kang's second in command rebels against him, and Ravonna dies, and that's when they're all going out at it. They get whisked to a far future, and they end up teaming up with their greatest enemy. And
when I first read the Avengers, I know I read like the Avengers 1 and maybe one of the Origins books. And then I think I also read Avengers 4 when Captain America came back in some reprint somewhere. So I was aware of the Avengers early lineup, but I had never really read because that stuff just wasn't available, even in reprints. And then I got my hands on some of the Marvel triple action with Cap's Kooky Quartet. And I was just like, what? This is the Avengers?
Yeah. In power-wise, we've never had such a weak team as that one.
Yeah. And 3 of them were villains.
Well, I don't really see them that way because not having read them as villains when they
I had
were
read
villains.
the original X-Men, and I had read the first. I really didn't see them as villains either, as much as not really heroes, not Avengers.
Right, because Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch don't stay with Magneto too long.
No.
then they disappear, and when Magneto comes back several times during the course of of the X-Men's history. But even
And
even
Hawkeye was duped.
yeah, and even then, Hawkeye shows up in 2 stories of Iron Man, and he's doing that. He's getting schmoozed by the Black Widow, and then he comes back. So
And
it's not
also,
really.
my Avengers, like the current Avengers that I was reading then, were the George Perez Avengers. They're as heroic as you can get when George Perez is drawing them.
Yeah.
So, to go to like the Don Heck drawn kooky quartet was very strange.
But one of the first Avengers stories I read during the Zodiac storyline was drawn by Don Heck, so I kind of knew his style, and I liked it. I like Don Heck. I never understood the hate for Don Heck. I think they were using him for fill-ins, like hiring him 5 days before the deadline, and he had to rush a job.
And he was a romance guy too. He wasn't really that much of a superhero guy. He did a good job.
Oh yeah. Have you ever seen nobody draws a suit like Don Heck?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen too many of his suits.
Yeah. It probably and even the buttons are correct. Yeah. George Tusk is good at it. I don't like George Tusk Iron Man, but George Tusk is very good with normal people. So yeah, we have 2 guys who contributed a lot to Iron Man, and they end up being good with regular clothing.
And was it Don Heck who John Romita said to me he didn't think Don Heck was served very well by the change in paper size? He was better. He thought Don Heck was better twice up than 1.5 up when they made the original art paper size smaller. Because different artists work better at different scales. Yes. Another comic I got this week that was good. I got a lot of good comics this week. I don't think there were any clunkers. This is Super Creep Show. This is the Invincible cover variant, so it's super bloody. Ouch. There's the other cover variants. They've got a cover A is the Amazing Fantasy 15. Then they've got the other ones. But 2 stories. Who's doing these? Kieran Gillen, writer. Rosie Gifford, artist. Pat Brosseau, letterer. Creepy and Speed Freak, Ryan North, writer. Derek Charm, artist. And Pat Brosseau, letterer. And I got to say, both of these were good stories. I enjoyed both of them. Sort of a Spider-Man story and a Flash story. And these are definitely pre-code comic stories. Because nobody learns a lesson. The twist at the end is things get worse. Justice doesn't prevail. And both stories I liked a lot. Were good. I liked them a lot. So I really enjoyed this issue. And I'm really liking the fact that, like I said, that they're pre-code stories in that there's just free imagination in them. Like I said, the post-code stories, as we all know, the comics code neutered all the horror stuff. But even after the code, that lingered for years. And the tradition also became this, you had to come up with a clever twist ending.
Yeah.
Pre-code stories had no clever twist endings. Things just went from bad to worse.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening in these too. They just go from bad to worse. There's no clever twist ending. There's just, ooh.
Yeah, you do notice even in the themes when the superheroes disappear and the crime comics and the weird science comics begins. The weird science, whatever science fiction is there in those stories, gets lost immediately in some publishers. not so much at DC because they separate science fiction and horror.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, at Marvel, they didn't. And during the 1950s, the science fiction quickly morphs into weird horror, usually green green-eyed monsters, zombies, living skeletons. There's a lot of that. And when they get hit by the comics code, the zombies disappear. You start having more weird stuff again. That looks more realistic. So they start pushing for the UFO stuff and and teleportation and space aliens, because it's the best way to do monsters now is space aliens. It's the only one that are approved.
They're not scary. They're space aliens. No such thing.
Mhm.
Another one with a sort of things just get worse ending that I liked a lot was this another AWA's been doing some one shots that I've been enjoying.
Mhm.
That is a guy with a head wound in a pool that's also a phone. Kind of a weird, try to figure it out. Not a fan of the logo. Not a fan of this cover much at all. But the story itself was good. It's about this influencer. He's a pickup artist influencer kind of guy. He's selling you on how to pick up women. And he makes a blog and sells books kind of thing. And he gets involved in a situation he shouldn't have been involved in. So it's sort of like Stray Bullets, where David Lapham sort of takes an ordinary person and throws him in the middle of a crime. Sort of like that, except it's a little slicker. It's a little more Hitchcockian. It takes him a while to actually get involved in the crime. But I really like the ending of it. Once again, I'm not going to give it away. And also it was very sort of like here he is making his video. So it's sort of like very modern. So you know how in like TV now when they have someone making a video or they like have a montage of images. The artist was who's the artist? Where'd it go? The writer is Michael Coast. The artist is Felipe Cunha, Cunha. I think he's Brazilian.
Yeah, Cunha.
Cunha. He's also the one who did the Gatsby graphic novel, not the adaptation of the book, but the takeoff, their own version of the book, sort of thing. Just named Gatsby from AWA. But really enjoyed this. Like it was the ending that kind of made it for me. But also sort of like it also reminded me of sort of an episode of a TV show and the way it approached sort of visually because nowadays when they have someone looking up stuff online, they have to come up with a visual way for it, or something like the Sherlock show from the BBC, where they had to have a way for Sherlock Holmes to figure things out. So they had all these graphics go by and stuff and this and he was sort of doing that with the artwork at different parts. So that was kind of interesting too, but really enjoyed it. I'm glad I've been getting these one shots because they're not all great, but some of them are really good. One shots. They must be collecting them in a trade or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they're collecting the Future Fix stuff in a trade. The Protopia.
Yeah, AWA is something that kind of passes me by. I don't pay that much attention to them, but they'd be an interesting proposal to license over here, because those aren't obvious comics that people will already have. And here right now, American series don't do well in the Portuguese market because either the people already bought the original version or when they launch the volume 1 here, readers don't wait for volume 2 to come out. They just get the English language version,
These aren't even series; they're one shots, though.
which makes it better. Yeah, but although something that's only 30 pages is harder to
That's
publish.
more than that. It's probably 40 something pages.
Yeah, that's easier.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have to sell it for like $10 here.
It wasn't. It was how much was it? $7. Let's see how many pages it was. Bunch of pages at the back. Yeah, it's got to be in the four. There's probably a 48-page package with 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So yeah, it's probably right around 40 pages, I would guess. But I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was like the ending made it for me. The ending. So that's two of the endings of the two stories in Creepshow made it for me, and the ending in this one made it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's the way it really has to go with done in one stories.
Yeah, but when you show up with those comics and all of those people who are unhappy with the current state of the industry, instead of trying to bang their head against the wall to make Marvel and DC better, which is not going to happen, they might as well try to push those comics in a way that interesting for readers, because it's always trying to make them interesting for readers. If you try to make them for not readers, they won't go anywhere.
It's tough to try to sell Marvel and DC diehards any other kind of comics.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've been noticing that especially they had a chance to get away and try something new, and they didn't want to. They didn't want to break the collection.
Yeah, I mean that's why like I said, that's why I'm glad these speculators are at least putting some of these indie books on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Like sure. Dork, I'm glad the speculators are all over Dork, because maybe it'll get some people to like. What else do I have here? That's this is one that crossed over a bit. Exquisite Corpses, I think, because it's close to a superhero comic, in that it's about super assassins fighting each other. This is issue 11 of 12, and I know I've seen this like on the TikTok hauls I've watched of people who buy Marvel and DC stuff. This is one they've been buying, and so I was glad to see that. And I didn't realize there's a polybagged version with a playing card in it. I was like, "Ooh, cool! I should have been getting that one. I like playing cards." But this has been good. It's by it's weird because it says it's created by James Tynion and Michael Walsh, but it's written by Che Grayson with James Tynion, and this art by Gavin Fullerton with Michael Walsh, whatever that means.
Right.
Colors Jordi Belair, letterers Becca Carey. But it's been a good story. They did something that annoyed me in this issue, and they had one of the characters die because she turned her back. One of the super assassins die because she turned her back on the housewife and left her with a bunch of knives. So the housewife picked up one of the knives and stabbed her in the back with it. It's like, what? What? Why did you do that? After saying how she's going to kill her whole family. What? And then you just left her with some knives and turned your back to her? What? Some super assassin you are. But I think the idea was that's how little she thought of her, but that didn't really come across. It came across as a villain explaining their plan so that the hero will have a chance to foil it. I'm like, what? Why would you do that?
I will now leave you to your fate. My fate is
that,
picking up this knife and killing you.
that just reminded me of Planetary, one of my favorite comics with one of the worst endings,
Yeah.
where Winter and Mr. Fantastic meet up. Is that his name, Winter?
No,
Jon Snow? No.
Jon Snow. Yeah.
Was it Jon Snow?
Yeah.
Was Winter his code name?
No, Winter's a member of Stormwatch.
Oh, okay.
The Russian guy.
All right. Well, Jon Snow and the Mr. Fantastic guy, Reed Richards type guy, they're meeting up, and Reed says, "Come alone." And Jon Snow shows up with his two guys. He said, "I said, come alone." "Okay, I'm going to search you." Searches Jon Snow, and then Jon Snow goes, "Hold on a second. I got to go talk to my buddy." Walks over, talks to his buddy, gets the double secret weapon that'll defeat Reed Richards, walks back and goes, "Aha, I got the double secret weapon that'll defeat you." It's like, when you say show up alone and he shows up with two extra guys, search them all. Don't just search the one guy you told to show up alone. The world's smartest man doesn't know to search all three.
Well,
Come on.
typically the world's smartest man is oblivious to the obvious.
Yeah, that's
Reed
a
Richards.
cliche, but that didn't work. Oh man, you don't know how. To this day, I can't stand that ending. As much as I love that comic, that ending just grinds my teeth.
Yeah, I liked it like that.
What was that?
I liked it like that.
Nah. And I got a French comic this week.
Ooh.
That 62 Lefty Blues and Sleepy Reader also got.
Yeah, he asked me about it. I gave him the complete rundown of the writer and artist.
Space Relic Hunters. And looks terrific. And really, once again, I'm trying to figure out sort of the different influences in the French style and sort of the American style.
Well, a lot of the
woman in the push-up bra the whole time was very nice.
Well, a lot of the traditional differences have kind of disappeared because new artists are very influenced by cinema and anime. So
I think you're right there, but like this guy is sort of classic French style.
it is, and you can tell, but it's like Enrico Marini. It's that new version that's a lot more cinematic.
It is, but also it's like American style has been so influenced by monthly comic, by getting a comic out monthly.
Yeah.
That a lot of American styles are stripped down. Less so now that computers are involved. But like the French style and a lot of European, there's just so much. And the word detail even means a different thing in American comics and this comic here. Because when people in American comics talk about detail, they talk about, Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, where the detail is really the technique. It means they're using 20 lines instead of 10 lines.
Right.
The detail in this is actually drawing the thing. Like all the fashion has details in this. Each character, all their belts and straps and everything is drawn. The detail and capes, everything is drawn. Like each panel is very, very drawn. Like the detail of each, like if I were to flip here and look at like a general ship has everything is detailed in the drawing and in the fact that it's drawn, not in the fact that it took 17 lines to draw it, but in the fact that it is drawn. In American comics, being that you have monthly deadline, there wasn't always, you'd strip everything down as much as possible. there's nothing sort of stripped down about this. It's much more akin to sort of traditional illustration, where you're doing a magazine cover and you draw every little thing, as opposed to a comic book where you got a deadline. You can't draw every little thing. But it was a good story too. Like I said, the art was very immersive, and the story was about it's almost like it seems to me a lot of the sort of European stuff that I've read of this type, there's some giant space empire, and we got a few people who are usually Han Solo types running around in this giant space empire. So you've got authority and our sort of outlaws running from authority. That seems to be a general theme in a lot of the European stuff I've read. And that kind of holds true for this too.
It's usually what they try to export to America because it's easier to understand. Although that writer Runsberg, they also published Darwin's Diaries. Cinebook did published Darwin's Diaries in English, and Ablaze published People of the Black Circle, the Conan story, the one that's from the French Conan series.
Right.
But the artist is the Grun. Most of his stuff is unknown in the U.S. He does have something else with
first time I'm seeing him.
Yeah, he does have something else with Runsberg, which is called On Mars, which only came out in France so far.
No, that's published. Those are one of the two things by the same. In the back, they've got by the same authors. Published in French, Then they have published in English by Magnetic Press. On Mars and Warship Jolly Roger, Volume 1 and 2. So.
They got Jolly. Oh wait, Warship Jolly. Wait, wasn't Warship Jolly Roger some? I don't think Warship Jolly Rogers was a French comic. It was an anthology. No, wait, no. It is a. Yeah. Oh, it's based on a game. Yeah. I think it's based on a game.
There's a lot of French publishers.
There are. There are four main ones, but with three of them belonging to the same media company. but there are a lot of, and now it's easier. It's actually easier for indie publishers to get something out there. But there's a lot of stuff every month, and nothing really stands out. That's the problem. There are so many comics coming out in France every month that it's a hard time for anything to stand out.
Well, I definitely enjoyed this one.
Captain Phoenix still can't see any chats. Try to change to up there on the top of the chat. You should, if you change to live chat, you should see everybody. Although I don't understand why they're not appearing, because I don't have that many people commenting. So
yeah, I see the chats. They may have stopped appearing because may have stopped commenting because it stopped appearing on their end somehow. Who knows? Oh, and did you see one of my favorite covers, Afterlife with Archie, by Andrew Papoy? He is now Margot Papoy.
Oh.
I noticed that he announced that this week. He says it's okay not to change any of his past work name, but from now on, he's Margot Papoy, as he's transgender. I was like, oh, okay. Interesting.
Ted Goblin's only seeing his comments.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah.
So that little bit of comic news came out this week about Margot Papoy. I'm not really that familiar with his work. I have that cover. I know he's done, or she has done stuff for maybe G.I. Joe.
I can't remember. It was back in the 90s.
It's been such a long, like I said, he's been around for a while.
Hmm.
But this is the first Afterlife with Archie book I bought, and I got it just because of this cover. I found that cover very cool.
Yeah, Trooper Boy. So let's see. Iron Man, and so he was an inker mainly.
An inker in the 90s, did he start?
Yeah, 1991. First appeared in the Flash Annual, part of the Armageddon 2001 storyline. Here's he inked Kevin Upgood in Iron Man. I've seen here doing backups in the X-Men annuals. What else? Wonder Man. So he was doing everything, I guess.
Yeah. He was taking whatever job he could.
Yeah, he
whatever
did the Dark Man.
Give him.
Yeah, he did the Dark Man comic.
Okay.
Over Javier Saltares. Yeah, but he did everything. Yeah, Dark Man, Morbius, Green Lantern Corps Quarterly, Morbius. Who's he doing over Morbius? That's Cordova. Yeah, but it's mostly inker. First penciling job I see here is on Femme Force number 83.
Femme Force.
Yeah.
I think I picked up like issue 200 of Femme Force that came out last year.
Yeah, but it's mostly inker, a very little penciling.
I know he did a bunch of stuff for Archie around this time. What year was this?
Yeah, 2006. He starts writing and drawing Archie and Friends.
2013. Wow, this is that old?
Yeah, but he makes the switch in 2006. Well, he was still getting regular work in 2005 because I see 2 or 3 comics that he inked per month. He was doing Scooby Doo. When you start doing Scooby Doo, you really need the money. Yeah, so he switched to Archie. Oh, he was doing Jack of Fables too, which was the Fables spin-off. Right. Yeah, but this is it. Yeah, Fables, Literals, Jack of Fables. And after 2013, it's less stuff. Yeah, but he's mostly been an inker, so.
Yeah. He's now Margot with an EAUX at the end.
That doesn't make much sense, but okay. Yeah, if you're only seeing your comments or are having trouble seeing anyone else's comments, or either refresh or try switching to live chat at the top of the chat and see if anything shows up. I don't know what that's happening.
Yeah, who knows what's going on with that? StreamYard's messing with us.
Or YouTube. I mean, every time they change something in YouTube, they mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
You should see what they did to the subscription page.
Oh, and by the way, this hardcover was the retail on it is $25. So I got it for 10% off. I think my comic shop cover it gives me. So
yeah,
magnetic.
That's a bit squarish.
It's got round corners too. That's interesting.
Right.
It's about the the standard European size. Oh, did they give us a little more room on the inside? No, it's centered.
Comic Crack is here. What's up?
Hello. Did you pick this up, Comic Crack? Like 62 Lefty. I was surprised after I got this that both 62 Lefty Blues and Sleepy Reader were like, "Hey, I got that this week too." I'm like, I didn't expect so many people to be getting it. A French comic.
Yeah, he says Magnetic does that to all of their comics. It's nice writing.
Yeah, it's nicely bound.
Yeah, he didn't buy it though.
It's good stuff.
The thing is, that writer writes has like 30 different series in his beta tech page, so he's quite prolific.
And I'll have to tell Sleepy that there's no nudity in this, but the main character is in a push-up bra the whole time.
Right, it's probably PG-13. This is Europe. In Europe, PG-13s are for children. Push-up bras are for children. No, it's normal. I mean, it doesn't have anything that children can't read.
Yeah,
I guess. Because that's actually normal in France. Not everything is heavy metal. And it doesn't have to be. But but like I said, you publish something like that and it's really good. And those guys, if they don't sell 30,000 copies, I'm pretty sure that the economics of the comic, you can't break even.
Yeah.
And with 100 new graphic novels every month, counting the reprints and the manga, you have a hard time getting your book noticed.
I pulled this out again to show Sleepy just because it surprised me. In Ms. Tree Quarterly, #2 from the 90s that I'm reading, from DC, mature reader, in the backup story, Midnight, who is there?
He says no boobs, not buying it.
they all of a sudden had a page of boobs in the DC comic. I was like, whoa, shocking. In the backup story of Ms. Tree Quarterly, I don't know why. I was just like, what? In a Midnight story? Was he a Golden Age character, Midnight, who was their knockoff of Spirit? Or is he?
Yeah, he was, but he did. I think he was at Quality.
Okay. They got him in one of their buying sprees.
Let's see, comics. Let me see.
Let me show you one of the.
Yeah. He came from Quality. It was created by
Let me show
Jack
you
Cole.
one of the lots of Firefly / Serenity comics I got. I finally got. What year did this come out? This is like 20 years old now. I never got this back in the day. These are an Adam Hughes connecting covers.
Mm-hmm.
I think I bought this. This was just like a 3-issue series from back in I have to look up the date in them. Whoops. And they're like 20 years ago. And I never got them since I've been buying all those Firefly books. I decided I may as well get I don't think I have them in the right order, the connecting covers from back in the day. Let me see what year they're from. They are from (2008), so they're only 18 years old. I don't remember the comics weren't very good, but like I said, I think it's the covers of the others. These two that capture some of the essence of Firefly more than the comics themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam Hughes did a solid job on these.
Yeah.
Strangely, I think he missed Nathan Fillion the most. Out of all, he missed Nathan Fillion, and he missed Kaylee a little bit, but she's in an odd. I think everybody else he got pretty well.
I don't know. I don't like Reverend Book's hair.
I think he got his hair pretty well. You just never saw Reverend Book smiling with a cigar.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But I thought these were pretty good. I think they cost me maybe $5 a piece, shipped and taxed. So I was like, and they didn't smell like cigarettes, so that was good. I swear I thought they did. When I opened, I opening that other package of the Chaos Moons, the cigarette smoke hit me so hard that when I opened this one, I was like, I could swear it would smell like cigarette smoke, even though it didn't. That's how traumatic it was. Serenity books were not a Lone Star order. These came off of eBay, and I've been I don't know if you've been seeing our show. I've been buying since December. I've been buying a whole bunch of Firefly books off of eBay in lots, which has made them even cheaper than at Lone Star. They're like anywhere from $3 to $5 a piece, and I was getting them for $2 a piece. But I'm actually gonna get a few certain ones I want at Lone Star. But I've been buying the Firefly, the 2018 and up Firefly series, just because I like that. I like their covers. I'm a big Firefly fan, but I didn't like these comics very much, and I read some of the graphic novels from Dark Horse, and they were mediocre. But there are so many good covers on the Firefly 2018 series, and so many covers in general, that I've been buying those like in cheap lots. If I had to pay $5 or $10 an issue, I probably wouldn't be collecting them. But at $2 an issue, woohoo, that's my price point. Even now, I look online or something, and like I'm like, oh, I'd like that cover. $10? No.
If Jared ever buys one of my books, I will ask the publisher to spray the book with a beautiful perfume, Captain Finity says.
I'm telling you, that cigarette smoke was like a chemical attack. Missed a lot of Friday chats. Okay. Well, like I said, I've been buying these, and what I do with them. Here, I'll show you the one.
He has been busy at work.
I've got a spot right over here where every day I take out 5 books, and I just have them on my table over here, and then I just kind of run through them. Oops, look, I get doubles of that one. That one I let. I just kind of look. I just have, it's just so I can go over to the table and glance at them. So that's what I've been doing. Like I said, I think let me see my tally. So far, I have gotten 138. I've got 138 issues of Firefly. And there are so many different and the series is only, it's only maybe 50 issues in the various series. But there's so many alternate covers that me buying them in lots, out of 138 books, only 12 are doubles. Cover doubles, that is. So it's like there's just so many covered. And there was this one shop in Pennsylvania where I was able to get a lot of stuff from dirt cheap. And they had them all, I could buy all the A covers, all the B covers. Here's the CD covers. So I was like, I didn't have a whole lot of overlap. Yeah, but that's been my latest collection.
Sitting on a truck right now.
About to break through me.
So you're still on your current assignment. Okay.
Well, just we'll show you this latest thing. I got Cap's Kooky Quartet.
Yeah, I made Jared spend money on it.
Yep. I believe it cost me $40 in total to get all these pops, and I even ordered the. Hello there, Sleepy. I even ordered since these ones don't come with this nice stackable case. For $2 a piece, I ordered a few stackable cases off of eBay. So that got me up to, it was 15, and 10. So I had to spend $40 because Paolo put Cap's Kooky Quartet in my head. But I got it. But I always say, if $40 isn't a big price for getting a thought out of my head.
And Damien shows up 5 minutes after you showed Space Relic Hunters.
Yeah. Did you get to read this yet, Sleepy? I was just showing it off, and I was like, yeah, you and 62 Lefty Blues also got this week. I got a chance to read it, and it was good stuff.
The 22 of 42. That's a long shoot, isn't it? Well, what I've been reading on and off is the Star Slayer trade paperback.
I've been looking at getting some issues I'm missing of that so I could read the whole thing.
So this is a reprint of the remastered series that was put out by Malibu.
Oh, okay. That's not the original series. Oh, that's the original series remastered by Malibu.
Yeah, but in the trade paperback, the coloring is exaggerated.
Oh, it's that. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
and I
year
think
did that come out?
the trade. Let me see.
What year was it recolored? Early
It was
93.
it would
Yeah.
have been recolored in '95.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the trade's from 2017.
Okay. Yeah. 1995 computer coloring wasn't the best.
Mhm. Very muddy, isn't it? And I'm not sure if these were scanned. I mean, this is creator owned, but I'm not sure Mike Grell had the photo stats.
Right.
So because the
Look at that Burt Reynolds mustache.
yeah. But the series, this one, there's one thing though that I kind of noticed. It's read 2/3 of a.
All right.
Well, that thing's 100 pages, so
Yeah.
because that's a one shot. There are no further albums of that.
Right. I've read it in a few sittings.
Mm-hmm. What I kind of noticed is that there's a common theme among all of Mike Grell's first half of the '80s work, because Star Slayer he has to go to the future and he sacrifices himself, and he has to leave his family behind.
Uh-huh.
And John Sable Freelance, he has lost his family because they were killed by the poachers. And then in the Green Arrow, the Longbow Hunters miniseries, Oliver and Dinah discuss having children because Oliver, he doesn't have Roy around anymore because he's an adult now, and Dinah doesn't want kids. So there's some continuing themes of losing your family from book to book.
Uh-huh. And shirtless heroes.
And shirtless heroes. Because yeah, this is a Celtic barbarian going to the far-flung future.
Isn't that what XO Man of War was too? Yeah.
Yeah, he was a Gothic warrior, and but although they wouldn't be from the same time period, so Thorin is in Britannia, and they're being invaded by the Romans. So this would be in the 2nd or 3rd century AD, and Exo Eric he's in Dacia in the 5th or 6th century, because the Goths lived around that area of the Black Sea, which is currently southern Ukraine, and they moved in on Dacia, and Dacia was a part of the Roman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the Visigoths lived in Eastern Europe, and the Ostrogoths lived on the other side with the Sarmatians.
Didn't the Visigoths start in Eastern Europe and end up in Spain?
Yeah, they conquered the peninsula in the 6th century.
Mm-hmm. Because they were chased out of Eastern Europe by the Huns.
Yeah. No, they got here in the 4th century, but they came at the same time as the Swabians, and they got into a fight over territory, and they had to kick out the Vandals. Didn't stay long, but they had to kick out the Sarmatian tribe called the Alans, who lived in the west of Portugal. But eventually the Visigoths took over everything, but there was still lots of infighting because they were all Visigoths, but all of the tribes were fighting each other, which is how the Moors invaded in the 8th century during a Gothic civil war.
Speaking of battles, Battle Beast is back. Invincible Universe Battle Beast. I notice it coincides with the beginning of the new season of Invincible on Prime. So this has been a fun series. It's just, matter of fact, there's more depth to it than I thought there'd be at first. The first couple issues were all Battle Beast battling people. But last we left, he was injured, and the person that he was fighting was injured. By the way, the basic story of Battle Beast is he's driven to fight until he dies, to find somebody who can best him in battle. He will be unhappy and miserable until he finds someone who will best him in battle. So that's what he does. He goes around looking for people who can fight him in battle. And this right here, this is a prince of this planet who he befriended, kind of, because Battle Beast doesn't really make friends, that he sort of teamed up with. And that one I showed you before, where was it? That right there is the ship's computer that's crashed and now in a robot's body. But the ship is trying to kill him. The ship, he killed everyone on the ship, and the ship's computer is like, I'll help you find someone. I'll help you find someone to kill you, no problem. So there's someone on this planet who might be able to kill him. So he just finished up a fight with her, and it was kind of a draw. So now he wants to go back and kill her because he killed her brother, so he can kill her. But it's just a fun. Sure, was so peaceful.
Yeah. No, the one thing that I always have to remind myself is that the treachery of Arminius will not go unpunished. So we still have a 2,000 year vendetta on the behalf of Rome against the Cherusci tribe of the Germans. Visigoth again fighting. Well, here's the thing. That's what feudalism was. You had a bunch of people who controlled a certain area, and they would get along or not with their neighbors, even if they were all from the same ethnic group. But they were different warlords, so they would get on each other. They would step on each other's toes a lot. But if you go looking for some European comics about the Roman Empire, you see a lot of that.
Yeah. Want to see this might be the last batch of Firefly comics that I get. It's the tail end of all new Firefly, which I got a bundle of. So I think this was the very last series of Firefly. And I think this is an actual double. I showed you this one last week. Because this is I got like 1 through 5, and this is like 3 through 10 that I needed. That was all in a bundle, about $2 a piece. I like that one. Like these wanted posters, I like a lot better now that I see them on person than I saw pictures of them. There she is with a bomb on her. These covers aren't as good as the ones from the 2018 series, I don't think. But they're okay. And what's weird too is this series went 10 issues, and then it was finished off in a one-shot. All new Firefly big damn finale. It's like, who finishes a series in a one-shot? I don't know. But I like this cover a lot. I think these are all Mona Findin covers. I'm not sure who she is, but I think she did most of these covers. Yeah, Mona Findin. Ethan Young did one. But that's what I've been doing with these. Whoops. On the back, I write down which version it is and who the artist is, just so I can tell easily. But that was like, there might be one more batch I buy from that store in Pennsylvania. I don't know. It might be gone. Because I noticed a few of the ones I had my eye on eBay were gone, maybe because of the Firefly announcement of they're going to have the animated show, but maybe not. Maybe someone was buying them anyway. So I might buy one more batch. I might buy some off of mycomicshop.com of just the covers I want, but we'll see.
Then you have to go look for another TV adaptation.
Yeah.
I downloaded a pirated scans of the Partridge Family comic.
The Partridge Family comic.
Who the hell wanted to read that? Those things were terrible. I read issues number 1 and 2, and these are
maybe if you were an 11-year-old girl in 1973, you'd really like it. You wanted more David Cassidy.
That thing is so schmaltzy.
Or a 8-year-old girl. I might have to go younger.
I don't know.
For liking that comic.
Yeah, but I was looking at, because these appeared in one of the pirate sites, and let's go download the Partridge Family. What that thing was about, and this sucks. No.
This sucks.
But those guys got all the TV licenses and didn't do anything worth a damn with them.
There we go.
7.
There we go. What do you think? There are any CGC high graded Partridge Families? Like, would there be like a 9.8 of the Partridge Family?
I don't know.
Because I can imagine there's not a ton of those in good shape. That might be one of the ones where 9.0 would be like a really, really good shape one.
Let's find out. Let's go to cgccomics.com. Population.
Look up the Partridge. Report. How many issues did it run?
20 something.
Right. That's a goodly amount.
Yeah.
Up over 20.
Where did I have it? Let me check. Partridge. 21.
21.
Yeah, between 1971 and 73.
Okay, so that's a good run.
CGC as 30 comics graded, 1 in 9.6, 4 in 9.4, 2 each in 9.2 and 9.0.
Is that for issue 1 or just in general?
For issue number 1.
Okay. So there is a 9.6 issue 1. Wow.
Yeah, the worst they graded is a 3.0.
Huh. Who sends in a 3.0 Partridge Family number 1?
I don't know. But it would be something nice for you to buy.
Yeah. I got the lowest graded Human Torch number 1. Maybe I can look for the lowest graded Partridge Family number 1.
I mean, it's a good conversation piece.
Yep. Could be like my friend Ed was just telling me. He showed him to me last fall. I hadn't seen him before. It must be 5 years ago now. A friend of his said, "Hey," a friend of his who like buys stuff at auctions and buys stuff, from estate sales and things like that to resell. She said, "Hey, there's some comic books here if you want me to get them for you." And it was like Hulk 181, some money comics. And he's like, "Sure, get them for me. See what you can get them for." And he's like, I'll grade them and sell them, sell them, and make my money back from them. Just so he really didn't want to deal in them. He just wanted to make some of his money back from them by selling like the Hulk 181 or whatever. At least that was his plan. I found out, last fall, he didn't sell a damn thing. He ended up just buying them. But he did send a bunch of them off to CGC to get graded. He got a CGC membership, and I don't know, he must have sent he spent a pretty penny. I mean, he's got like a short box full of CGC stuff. But he's no greater. He loves comics, but he especially loves comics of his childhood. But as he said, I looked at a comic and was like, "Oh, that one's a pretty good shape," and then it comes back a 7.5. Like random issues of the new Teen Titans that are set stuff like no one would, and like most of his stuff came back like from 7.5 to 8.5, maybe a 9. And he was just like so disappointed. He was like, "Oh, I thought those were in good shape. They're not." So that somebody like that sent in a Partridge Family #1 and a 3.0. Oh, it's not bad shape. Maybe I'll get it graded. 3.0.
And I think the other comic that was in the pirate side was the courtship of Eddie's father, I think. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna download that one.
And I
Actually, let's go back to the CGC website and see if they have any courtship of Eddie's father.
Courtship of Eddie's father. Yeah, like I said, I saw a video on TikTok or wherever of somebody new to collecting, sending in some stuff to CGC. I think he collected, maybe he was young. He was in early 20s probably. Sent in some stuff from like when he was in high school too, or whatever, junior high. And he was getting stuff back going 8.0, pretty good. I'm like, no, nobody wants that comic in an 8.0 from CGC. But he was happy with his 8.0, so.
Okay, courtship of Eddie's father, #1, 11 graded, 2 in 9.6, 2 in 9.4, 1 in 9.2, 4 in 9.0, the worst in 7.0.
How many have been graded altogether?
11.
That's it. So at least you're trying with that. I imagine and with Partridge Family, you're trying to get TV crossover.
Well, the Partridge Family continued being a part of the cultural landscape even after it ended. The courtship of Eddie's father was a blip, and they did a TV series because the movie was successful. But even then,
I used to watch reruns of the courtship of Eddie's father as a kid in the late 70s.
Yeah, but all of these have a very realistic for a Dell comic.
How many issues did that one run?
Courtship of Eddie's father, not sure. Let me see.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. Da 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 da. I remember the theme song.
Only 2 issues. Okay, so it's not like the Partridge Family. They lasted for 2 years.
Partridge Family had a solid run at 21.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anybody who knows who knows how many TV adaptations Dell and Goldkey put out.
Wow.
Every time I go check something out about Dell or Goldkey, which doesn't happen often, I didn't know they made this one. I imagine people picked up the Media Tie comics just because they recognize this. Their kids might like.
Yeah,
sure,
definitely.
Yeah, and Dell was the publisher that didn't need the comics code. So, and if it's something that's on TV, they know it's safe.
Yep. Another comic I got this week. Is this the last one? I think it is. All good reads. I like this cover. Night City. Matt Kindt and David Lapham. And since it's a Matt Kindt Flux House book, it's an extra $1 and you get a nice cardstock cover. David Lapham, what was it, $5? $5. This is sort of the classic David Lapham, 8 panels on a page grid that he uses for most of his Stray Bullet stuff. But this one is this issue got even more interesting because it's a Superman and Lex Luthor story. And Superman is Tomorrow Night or whatever his name is. I forget what. But let's see if it does tell us here. But he gets his superpowers from people's belief in him. And he's basically unstoppable. And the Lex Luthor character wants to stop him. And they have to, and he's kind of like Superman, the Samaritan from Astro City, where he spends his whole day saving people in the world. So he's like busy from dawn to dusk. And in order to get sleep, they build him this special chamber that cuts off as much of the world as they can for him, because he can't turn off his super hearing and stuff like that. That's the part that keeps him awake, is his super hearing. He can hear people in trouble halfway around the world. But it turns out the person behind building him this chamber, the most trusted company in the world, is the Lex Luthor character. So he's using his sleep chamber to analyze all this data about him. And he discovers that when he goes to sleep, he creates this whole alternate reality in his brain that somehow, and Lex Luthor is trying to get into his brain because he's vulnerable and he thinks if he can kill him in the dream, he can kill him in real life, because he's tested it. And if he gets injured in the dream, he's injured in real life. And that's the only thing that injures him. So it's this weird, creepy story. And it's creepy because Lex Luthor is super creepy in this, going into guys' dreams. And so far, Superman has no idea what's going on. And it's just like David, Matt Kint and David Lapham are two of my favorite creators. So I knew this would be up my alley. Good stuff. Night City. So I think all my books were hits this week. All the ones I got: Night City 2, Dead Teenagers #1, Battle Beast, Pickup, One Shot was good. Exquisite Corpses might have been the weakest one, and it was still good. Super Creep Show I liked a lot, and White Sky, second printing, I liked a lot. Yeah, I would have to say that Exquisite Corpses was the only one I'd give a B to. All the rest were A's or A minuses. So that's
Indie comics are doing the job.
Yeah, I gotta say.
Marvel and DC people, stop reading Marvel and DC.
Yeah, find some indie comics to read. There's got to be some out there. Like there are. I've looked at my pull list for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Like in April, I have like 8 to 10 comics a week coming in. That's just like there's a lot of good stuff out there. And even this week in pre-orders, there was let's say I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coming. And there was 2 or 3 I left behind that I didn't pre-order because they're not in the budget. But I was like, there's just so many good comics out there. When I hear people complain that comics aren't good, I'm just like, oh man, you're not reading anything good. Go out of the superhero ghetto. Find some good stuff. It's out there. I've been saying that for a lot of years.
Right. But it's easy. It's actually easier. It should be easier to find something that you like outside the big two.
I did find.
Besides, I don't think anybody's reading previews anymore. So, so it's not like you have.
In Comics Magazine, they did have an article on a graphic novel that I looked up and put on my wish list. Like, where is it? What's the name of it? It's a couple years old, even. What the? Ronda Rousey. Didn't read that one. Read that. Oh, there's also going to be David Baker really likes Sammy Harkham's Blood of the Virgin. So Blood of the Virgin is the book, and it's there's a little bit of art from it. And he mentions it's an auteur book. So, the one guy does everything. Blood of the Virgin is a pulsing heartbeat, thumping out forlorn sirens call to anyone who's ever attempted to make something of worth. And if you pursued that life while living it in Hollywood, then you're going to find this mirror shockingly revealing. At the end of the day, Seymour might be part Harkham and part Bogdanovich. But like I said, it's just one of the article caught my eye, and I put this one on my. It sounds like something I'd like. So hopefully other people will see this. And also in their comics, the magazine, and their picks, I think they have that. They don't have a picture of it, unfortunately, but they have that one-shot pickup down here. And they say, we're big fans of crime comics at this here magazine. And we're especially looking forward to Michael Coast and Felipe Cunha's, they spell it differently here, take on the wrong place at the worst time subgenre. So hopefully that'll get a few extra people picking up pickup. But they spelled Peter Cunha's name with an H here before the A. And there's no, there is Cunha, right?
Yes.
Cunha. Okay, it was just the all caps that fooled me.
Mm.
So it's right. No misspelling. But hopefully some people will pick up this and they'll come for the Absolute Batman and maybe stay for a couple of the indie books. That's all we can hope at this point.
Yeah, Damien says the loss of previews limited is indie pool.
Yeah.
Right, because one thing that you don't have is websites doing decent previews of comics, because it's been years since all the comics websites became movie websites.
Mm-hmm.
We need a proper comic book resources again.
There are a lot of previews magazines now. There's a couple of the smaller distributors have their own ones, and a couple. I haven't looked at them all, but I know there's more. But there's not one big chunky previews anymore. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm lucky to get that email from my comic shop every week that has everything listed on final order cutoff.
Not all shops have the same quality and the same customer care.
Yeah, they certainly don't. Like I said, I've heard from people, they try to order something through their shop and don't.
Yes. The publisher needs to advertise series in new series twice. Once when you have to order, and the first one you have to order, and second when the week before the book comes out, so you're ready for it. And then they have to have at least occasional reminders that the book still exists.
Oh, did you see how much Steve Bissett's Tyrant Kickstarter raised a lot of money?
Oh yeah, the thing went like doubled what they wanted.
Right. And I know why. I was looking through it. They offer so many stuff there. You can get like the artist edition of it. Mm-hmm. They offer not only like the digital version, the print version with this. There's actually an artist edition of it too. Mm-hmm. It's like, whoa.
Well, it's already over 3 times as over the goal. So
wow.
So Bissett's got already almost $180,000 and 1,251 backers. So,
and I didn't realize Jim Rugg is involved in it.
Yeah,
I think he's doing the publishing even.
This is
like,
good.
Look at that.
Mm-hmm. This is amazing. Yeah, and you got to do it like this. But it's the other way you can. Actually, I'm not even sure if you're following. You're predisposed to buying that if you're following that creator, but you're not likely to run into new things. So yeah, of course, Bissett's That's a veteran, so a lot of people probably do follow him on social media. So,
Yeah.
which means that if there's a new book,
And a
they
lot of people follow Jim Rugg.
Mhm. Jim Rugg needs to come back on his own and talk about comics he likes. Oh, Ted Goblin's asking who, where's Wilson?
Wilson is teaching at his friend's class tonight.
Mhm.
So he's, I forget where his friend teaches, maybe SVA. But he occasionally has Wilson in to show him how to do comic book lettering and production and such things. So he's off telling the kiddies. And I'm like, who's at a Friday evening class? Ooh, that must be a rough one.
Mhm. Yeah, get used to working Friday evenings. So,
Ah,
so because if you work in comics.
ah, ah.
Eric has trivia. What famous punk band did the kid from the Courtship of Eddie's father sing for? I have no idea.
I do not know that one either. Da 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 da. People, let me tell you about my best friend.
Why do a lot of kid actors want join bands, join independent bands when
Well, you know, they're
adults?
creative people. They're probably into music, and
Mhm.
why not? Use your little bit of fame to try to get something else going.
Mhm. I'm getting annoyed with Suno because it doesn't let me create trance music the way I want to. No, I give that thing's good for pop music, but it's not good for electronic music because you can't do a build up. It doesn't do that, and it does, even if you try to create a structure in the prompt, it gets confused and doesn't create the structure. It just meshes everything together. So I need trance to be at least 6 minutes. It gives me 3-minute radio edits. Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. It's getting goddamn ridiculous in here.
I did a couple of instrumental blues tracks that came out okay, but overall they're pretty generic. So cartoonist kayfabe as a team up with Ed Piscor. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think Ed was trying. Ed was trying harder to be ec- not eclectic, but out there on his tastes. So Jim Rugg came off as a more genuine,
The
but
voice
Ed,
of reason.
yeah, Jim Rugg was Dean Martin and Ed Piscor was
Yeah, they made a good team. Like, I haven't followed any of Jim Rugg's. Is he making videos on his own?
I'm not sure because I know that Tom Scioli has his own channel, but I've never subscribed.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Oh,
I'll have to look someday.
the Dollar Bin Bandits interviewed Scott Mitchell Rosenberg.
Who?
The Dollar Bin Bandits interviewed Scott Mitchell Rosenberg.
Oh, okay.
And of course, during the interview, he mentions that Marvel did not buy Malibu because of the coloring department, because you have to explain it every time.
Yeah. Well, that was their cover story, so that's the story everybody knew.
Mhm.
Even though we knew it was crap.
Yeah, like Red Better, but he was more sure.
See, I was more of an Ed Piscor guy. I liked the weirdo.
Well, Ed did one thing that nobody else could do, which is reading McFarlane versus Gaiman court depositions.
That and Ed Piscor's WYSIWYG is just one of my favorites. He did a really good job. Have you ever read that one?
No, I don't think so.
It's a graphic novel, WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. It's the
Right.
abbreviated, the whatever it's called for that, and it's about a. I think in the 70s they called them phone freaks with a PH before they were hackers. where you used to be able to hack and get information through touch tone phones. That's how you do it. But then he was being chased down by the FBI. So it was about this guy and his life on the run, and just really well done. I think it might have been the first thing I read by Ed Piskor, and actually the first thing I read was his rap music history. I read that when it was a website.
Right on.
WYSIWYG is a masterpiece outside and in. Yeah, it's like I said, it's really well done.
I did have something by Jim Rugg before I had ever heard of Cartoonist Kayfabe.
I don't know if I have anything by him.
It's called One Model Nation, and it's about a krautrock electronic band in Germany in the 70s. So they're Kraftwerk, but they're not Kraftwerk. And they get involved with the Bader-Meinhof gang in Berlin.
WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. You don't hear that term anymore because coding has changed so much.
Yeah, because everything is a visual it's a graphic interface.
And now it's vibe coding, which I want to try, but it's like if you don't already know how to code, you don't even know what to ask for.
Yeah, I understand that. I did do a couple of I did do a course where I needed to code in Python, and I never really got the hang of it on more complicated stuff. So it's
you probably wouldn't even have to do. I was talking to one of my fellow teachers who teaches UX, UI, and coding, and she was just like, job that used to take me 10 hours now takes 10 minutes.
Yeah. Because you do need to know what you want.
Yeah, you need to know what you want.
Yeah, because if you give the prompt like, give me something that lets me draw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, you have to tell it the actions that it needs to perform, so that it knows how to code for it. And even then, I don't know how complicated how hard it is for the AI to produce something complicated. Because I did something easy. It was an IP calculator. Yeah, and then we had a minor course on HTML because I did it for the gigs. And then okay, let's start drawing the website, because all of those people, none of were on the course. They had no idea what even HTML was. That's easy. I did HTML back in 25 years ago. I had my own GeoCities page. Remember GeoCities?
I remember GeoCities.
but I haven't kept up. I've never done a web page of my own ever since. So okay, but here's the thing. I'm really not in the mood for writing 300 lines of code, even if it's HTML. So ChatGPT, here's what I want the website to look like, and you have to think visually on where you want the things, and it's spat out a website. So, but one thing that people kind of expect is that thing works the first time around, and it doesn't. No, you
keep talking to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
The Plain Jane from Ruggs.
Plain Jane from Ruggs. I just wrote it down. I can spell HTML.
So if I need to do a website, I'll just put in on Grok or ChatGPT or Gemini, and it'll spit out a website. I've been trying. What I can't convinces the AI to turn a Word file that's mostly tabs into a JSON. Because it gives me the structure, and I get the feeling that the AI gets bored with having to do the entire conversion. So just tell me, okay, so here's the structure, just paste it.
I wonder what it would come up with if you tell it to make you a graphic novel. Like, make me a graphic novel, 64 pages, Superman versus Lex Luthor. Gotta have a good one. And you gave it some of the plot, like maybe a page worth of plot. What would it come up with?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if it could. I don't know if it'd spit out gibberish.
Yes, it will. The problem, the main problem still with image generators is that if you have bodies that are close together, you risk having the bodies merge into each other. Right. If they have movement, they might have a leg sticking out of the other guy's belly or something.
But I also know there's people specifically working on AI in to make comic books. So I imagine you'd have to make a specific AI for that too.
Yeah, not specific AI, but you do need a lot. You do need computing power. So you better have your own server at home. That's not cheap. And what you need is a server powerful enough to run an AI that will be able to understand the need to have the character sheet models be the same from panel to panel. Because if you tell them that you want a blonde guy in a red shirt, the guy will have a beard in one panel. The beard won't be there on the second panel. The hair size will change. Even the hair color. Say we want blonde, but it's going to come out black on a couple of scenes. The red shirt will be plain on one. It will have stripes on the other. You can't have it together for so many panels unless you keep giving it instructions of how the characters are supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep an eye on LOC. And see if they have any image that looks interesting. Okay. Yeah, but you always have to work at it.
Yeah.
You have to do homework. Did you hear the Comic Book Couples Counseling podcast interviewed Bissett? I'm not subscribed, so
I did not see that. I did just, who was it? Jason Liebig on, who was that? I think it was Dollar Bin Bandits. I watched that one. He's a Marvel editor who I used to work with.
Yeah, because he was talking about food.
Yes, he does a lot with food now.
Yeah.
And he collects like all historical labels from candies and things. Mm-hmm. But he was talking about Jim Lee stealing artists from him on the X-Men. She wasn't supposed to do. I think during that when the Image guys came back to...
Yeah, during the Heroes Reborn.
There we go, Heroes Reborn. Couldn't even remember the title.
Yeah, but Liefeld did it. Liefeld stole Ian Churchill. Because he was doing Cable at the time, right. or X-Force, one of those. I don't recall Jim Lee stealing people. Not saying it didn't happen, but I don't really recall anybody specific.
I forget who he said. He was like, it was 30 years ago. I could mention his name.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Well, I don't know. There's always some guys who are sticklers because how Scott Mitchell Rosenberg had to mention again in the interview that Malibu did not, probably not by Malibu because of the coloring department. And
they bought him to keep it away from DC.
Yeah, and on Facebook, the anti-Stan Lee groups, they are they are always looking for something to nitpick about Stan Lee, and and I'm saying that they're that they're wrong because they're not wrong, but they are picking up slightly details on how he edited to show how bad he was, and some of those things are. No, I think this makes sense that Stan Lee did that. So it's not a case of him stealing credit. We know that he stole the credit, the credit from all the artists. One of those guys pointed out now. Dick Ayers did a silent issue of
Right.
Two Gun Kid or Riot Kid, can't remember which one. And Stan Lee added some captions at the on the splash page just to say that he was the writer, so that he wouldn't pay
Yep.
a writer's fee to Dick Ayers.
So he would get his usual writer's fee.
Mhm.
The Dead Kennedys.
Hmm.
From 2001 to 2005. That's late, it seems.
Weren't the Dead Kennedys from the 80s?
Yeah. I guess there was a version of them from the early 21st century. Oh, my friend Rob just messaged me that Nicholas Brandon died, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Mm.
Xander from the TV show.
Oh, okay.
I know he's been having some drinking and drug problems over the years, but
It happens.
Yep. Well, we'll be on my channel next week.
Yeah.
We should say goodbye and let Paolo get to bed.
So let's have some balloons.
So let's have some balloons. Yeah. And some lasers.
And confetti.
Confetti. That's my one hand. Can it see it in the background there? Let's try this hand. There we go. Come on,
That's not the confetti sign. Is that the confetti sign?
It must not be. Is it the double thumbs up is the confetti? Nope. It's only seen one. No, double thumbs up is the. It isn't this our confetti?
I can't remember the confetti.
All of a sudden, I can't remember it either because it's not coming up.
Well, there's no confetti, so.
Is it double?
There you go.
It's double peace sign.
Okay. So now that we've had confetti, we can stop this. Okay. Thanks everybody for showing up. I hope you had fun, and let's move to Jared's channels for next week and keep reading comics.
All righty.